For lesson number 5, all we're going to learn in this lesson is simply how to use your calculator to come up with this information. So moving forward, you no longer have to make a chart or a table to get these answers. You can simply use your calculator. I do have you do the charts first, just so that you can get some work with the formula. I want you to have a little depth of knowledge as to where these numbers are coming from, instead of just pure calculator and you have no idea how your calculator creates these numbers. And so now you'll at least have some background information as to how this process works and where these come from. But pretty simple. Let's go through a couple calculator examples. I'm going to do the same 3 problems that you did for homework in your calculator. These are the only 3 ways they can come up, and so if you know how to use these 3 methods, then you're good to go. And there's not a lot new to this. We're just going to be using the list and the one variable stats. These all come up on the one variable stats page. So for this list right here, we would simply go to our calculator, and I'm going to put the 3, 8, 7, 14, 9, 10 in my calculator under list 1. So let me start doing that, and then I'll go full screen for you here. So I got the 3, 8, 7, 14, 9, and 10 in my calculator. So there they are. Let's go full screen. As always, I just go to Stat, go over to Calc, one variable stats. Notice I do not have a frequency list for this one, so it needs to be empty. And then if I just go all the way down, right about here, you get your sigma. About 3.30 is the standard deviation for that one. Do not use S of x. We use the little o. This little o is actually the Greek letter sigma, and it's actually the lowercase version of that letter. So the e that you see here is also sigma, but this is the capital sigma, and this is the lowercase sigma. So we use lowercase sigma to get our standard deviation every single time. Do not ever use the S of x. All right, we will always use the population or the sigma x to get it. So there's the 3.30. If you have something like example number 2, where we made a frequency list. So for number 2, if I have a frequency list, again, I go to Stat, Edit. Let me clear out the old list. So I go up to L1, I hit Clear, Enter, and I'm going to put in this data that you see right here. For list 1 and list 2. So for list 1, I have the x values, which are 2, 5, 7, 8, and 12. For list 2, I put the frequencies in. So 4, 2, 1, 2, 1. 4, 2, 1, 2, 1. So there we go. I do now have a frequency list. So when I go to Stat, go to Calc. Under Calc, I still use the one variable statistics, but now I need to make sure that under the frequency list, I do tell my calculator that L2 is my frequency list for this problem. And so now when I hit enter, again, you can see the population standard deviation right here, accurately to 3 sig figs, is 3.26. And again, we always use the sigma x, never S of x. So we're always looking at this one right here, 3.26. And then the last case that you can run into is where you have the classes of data, like this one right here. Again, this isn't not a lot different. The only difference is for list 1, for the x's, you have to remember to use the mid intervals as list 1. And so as I go to my calculator right now, as you can see on the right, again, I go to Edit. Let me clear out what I had in there before. And so for list 1, I'm just going to put the mid intervals, so 3, 6, 9, and 12 are my list 1. I always keep my frequencies as list 2. So 4, 7, 6, 3. Those are my frequencies as list 2. So let me go full screen. So there we go. I got the mid intervals as list 1. I have the frequencies as list 2. Again, I go to Stat, Calc, one variable stats, L1, L2. And there it is. We have 2.91 as my population standard deviation And again, we use sigma x, never s of x, and that's it. Those are the three ways that you might have to use your calculator for this information, but that's it. So from here on out, you have my blessing to just use your calculator for these things. You do not need to create a table moving forward.